Kent Jensen with Kent Coach. Red Bull time, you know it. Sugar free though. So we got our third video in becoming a business analyst or becoming better at sales. So we have our dry erase board behind us. But guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Boom. I put it in a PowerPoint. And what a lovely PowerPoint at that, right? You know, I got some flowers. Here's the logo. Here's the cause, Neuro for Vets for free. What we're doing is it's a charity here in Boise that helps veterans with PTSD by getting them neurofeedback therapy. So that's the cause. So let's go over a brief review of our dry erase board so I can erase it and be done with it, and we can start something new next time. Well, not next time, when we're finished with this series. So brief overview of becoming a business analyst. Entails relationship cultivation, motivating actions, reducing uncertainty, and then I will provide an example. So becoming a business analyst. Why? Because we don't want to be sales. No, we do. But the best sales is hidden. So being able to analyze a business or an individual will be valuable for you. So the path to success starts here by answering these questions. Who is the client? What is the value we provide? What are their needs, objectives, and challenges? So then first thing you need to work on, relationship cultivation. And if you remember Robert Cialdini's book, reciprocity is giving something out because people feel inclined sometimes to give back, like free samples in the grocery store, unity, and liking. Liking is, we want to do business with somebody we like. Unity is we have a shared sense of purpose or cause, right? So then after that, you have your motivating actions. This is what gets people to act, to do something towards closing the sale. And by doing that, you need to focus on consistency and scarcity. That means you have to do what you say and say what you do. And you have to create the idea that there might be limited space, right? Limited opportunity. At that point, somebody might be a little uncertain. So we need to reduce uncertainties. And another way of saying that is overcoming objections in a way that supports autonomy and allows someone the feeling of resonance that follows a good decision. Use these techniques to help reduce uncertainty in the sales process. So social proof, providing examples of their peers that are doing the same thing. And then authority, somebody they recognize as an expert on the subject matter or somebody whose opinion they value. So the real life example, we're going to stop sharing here, hit escape. And I'm going to share a different screen. Okay. So if you see here, I created the client profile, right? Now, if you remember last time, I just had those 3 areas and I kind of went a little bit more in depth. So it's a local gym. And originally I put value, increased revenue through more disciplined leaders. And eventually I added grow to 1,000 active members and add additional locations. Now, how I can provide that value is I have experience from when I was a missionary to just about every business that I've been associated with as far as growing, acquiring, and getting new locations, adding new locations. I've failed sometimes and I've succeeded. So I have a lot of experience in helping people understand how to sell, understand how to cultivate systems and processes to grow and to eventually divide and conquer. So what are the expectations, right? An organizational intelligence analysis, strengths and weaknesses, followed by individualized plans to get better. training, developing, helping people who are help build people who are capable of growth. So also the expectation is going to be to increase revenue, right? Impact the bottom line, help my client achieve their idea of success and growth. Needs, objectives, and challenges. Now, I went ahead and started doing research. Now, I told you I was going to do 3, but I only did 1. The reason I only did 1 is I went down a rabbit hole with this particular one. Now, your sales profile of your client or your potential clients is probably not going to be this in depth, depending on the level of sale you have. Like I said, the more complex the sale, the more you want to do, the longer it might take in the process, right? So, as far as needs, we have here acquisition, retention, converting members into higher engagement services, differentiating from larger gyms, and maintaining strong customer experience, right? So then the objectives would be to grow a profitable local business fitness community by attracting members with convenient, affordable access, right? Challenges, competing on price while trying to sell value, member consistency and motivation, delivering consistent experience through people, customer experience consistency, right? Public business feedback is mixed, positive comments around affordability, trainers, and atmosphere, right? So that's a challenge. Moving from transactions to relationships. Website is very focused on memberships, workouts, and personal training, but the strongest competitive position is actually relational. Local ownership, accountability, encouragement. So I use ChatGPT to help me. So it's trying to tell me what I need, but I took what I liked and I left what I didn't. And what I also did is I used a book. I'll show you the book to give me the outline of the format of what I'm looking for. So the recommendation would be phase 1, make the existing location a prototype, grow revenue to 300K, 100K in personal training, 50K in premium programs, boot camps, in-body 25K, 15K merchandise. So the goal is to get around $500,000 a year in revenue for the location. And then once we're hitting that $500,000 a year, we can start looking at phase 2, which is create a 500K location model, right? So that's based on 900 members. 900 members times 26, 280,000. And then build another 200K around the membership base, right? So this is something that the chat recommended, to not do another Boise location because they tried Boise locations and for whatever reason, they're just back down to the 1 club. So that's something I'm going to have to do as far as find out what the particular obstacles were, as far as what they're facing, what's unique to their business as far as that. So this is what I'd require before opening the 2nd location, and then what it would look like at 5 locations, right? So where my coaching and organization development consulting fits, develop the people leadership infrastructure required to successfully open location number 2. Engagement could focus on location manager, trainer, staff, leadership, delegation, accountability, sales conversations, member retention, trainer development, KPI ownership, and building a culture that gets replicated at the next location, right? Core logic is external inputs, organizational system, performance, behavior, outcomes, feedback, intervention. And we have to establish a baseline to demonstrate organizational change over time. So then I have a diagnostic model regarding external inputs, regarding the resources they have, regarding environment, expansion environment, regarding history, individual system, needs. So management and leadership practices, are they founder dependent? There's a analysis for that. Personal and group relationships, informal work arrangements, formal organization, tasks and job requirements and rewards, and then organizational outcomes, right? So I have, and then at the end, the scalability index. How easy is it going to be to scale? Then collecting data, and then a diagnostic deliverable, right? So this bottom part is ultimately the goal, to sit down with the decision maker who I've identified and give him this. But I can't just give it to him without establishing a need and establishing the vulnerability of him opening up to me to express, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do, right? So I'm going to stop screen sharing for a second. So I've already reached out to the owner and we have a meeting set up for next week. So in that meeting, I can't just show him all of that information because that's the solution, but I can't show him the solution before he shows me his problem, right? And I could go into that meeting and find out the problem is something completely different than what I've put on paper. And then that's fine too, because then I can adjust and we can adapt. So at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is, the objective of the meeting next week is to build rapport, make him feel comfortable, to trust me. And then I'm going to use something that's called humble inquiry and outward mindset to get him to show what exactly his vulnerability is. And this is done through questioning, right? And so the first question I'm going to ask is, what does success look like? What does it feel like? How involved are you on the day-to-day? Right? We start from there. We want to start with the end in mind, to understand where we're trying to go. I can't take you to where you're trying to go as a business owner, as a business, if you don't know, right? If we're just have a vague idea of what success is, then we'll never get there and it'll just be up and down. So I'll check in next week after the meeting, let you know how it goes. If you guys want the deck, email me, KJ at KentCoach. I'll share that again. Here, let's pull up the deck again. Okay. There we are. So the real life example, we looked at the customer profile. So final tips and takeaways: outward mindset, humble inquiry for my meeting next week. A very important task, a very important skill to have is to be able to identify buyers' questions. If somebody's truly interested in buying, you don't have to pitch them. They'll ask you questions, and all you have to do is give them answers that meet those questions. And then if you really want to take it next level, then you know what question to ask them following you answering their question to get them talking more. And then they'll return ask you a question, right? That's normally a buyer's behavior. And last but not least, trust yourself. You have the skills, you have everything you need. Don't worry. If you're a person that has trouble, that doesn't have trouble making friends, that doesn't have trouble being sociable, then you'll be fine in sales. Even if you're a lawyer or a doctor or somebody who's never been in sales, you'll be all right. So the best way after you try stuff is to seek feedback, reflect performance, explore new techniques, and then set personal goals. And then iterate and adapt always. So thanks again for joining us. If you have any questions, email me, KJ at KentCoach. Like I said, if you want the deck, go ahead, email me. It's free. 12,000, 10,000, 3,500, it's free. If you need help creating your customer profiles, reach out. I'll do it for free. I don't care. Here to give away everything I know. Unless you're a business on my list. Ha. All right. Well, if you need anything, reach out. I left my contact information there. Kent Coach, signing off. Spread love, inspire hope, learn compassion for yourself and for others.